They are calling it the most predictable breakup of all time. They're calling it the night of the long tweets. We all knew it was coming. Elon Musk and Donald Trump appear to have totally split. Trump's threatening to take away all of Elon's government contracts. Elon's threatening to start a new political party, accused Trump of being in the Epstein files, and appears to have called for Trump's impeachment in favor of JD Vance. How did this happen? What happens now? And what does this say about the future of the Republican Party and of American politics? Let's find out. Of course, those of you who have been keeping up with the reality TV show that is Trump's second term will know that Elon has been causing friction within the White House for some time now. Elon's been openly critical of the administration's tariff strategy. He's called Peter Navarro, Trump's top trade advisor, a moron. Elon's personal life has also been in the headlines a lot lately, and questions about Musk's drug use have been getting more and more difficult to ignore. Steve Bannon, Trump World Insider, has claimed that Elon and Scott Bessent, the Secretary of the Treasury, got into a screaming match inside the White House after Bessent criticized Elon and Doge for only finding $100 billion to cut when Elon promised that Doge would cut $1 trillion or more. This accusation apparently frustrated Elon, who allegedly shoved the Treasury Secretary. Who could have predicted this, though? Check out my video here if you want to know why Doge was always doomed to fail. So it's clear that there's been significant tension for a while, but what finally triggered a split between Elon and Trump appears to be Trump's signature spending bill, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. 2 days ago, Musk said that, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." Elon is apparently unhappy that the bill would increase the federal budget deficit. Despite what the White House has claimed, this is true. The bill would increase the deficit. Another point of contention over this bill is the fact that it would raise the debt ceiling, the amount of debt that the federal government is allowed to take on. Raising the debt ceiling is one of the favorite piñatas of the budget hawks in Congress. Senator Rand Paul, for instance, has said that he won't vote for the bill if it raises the debt ceiling. Yesterday, Elon told his supporters to call members of Congress and tell them to kill the budget bill. This set Elon and Trump on a direct collision course, which brings us to what happened today. Trump was asked about Elon's comments on the spending bill today and responded by saying,
And, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate and, which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. And, they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles. And they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And, Elon knew this from the beginning. He knew it for a long time ago. That's been in there. That's been, I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning. Mr. Secretary, that hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning. Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. He said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Trump accused Elon of only opposing the bill because it removes incentives for electric vehicles, and obviously Elon has a lot of money tied up in electric vehicles. Elon has been tweeting all day, calling this a lie, accusing Trump of being ungrateful for Elon's help in winning the 2024 election, and generally calling Republican leaders, including Trump, hypocrites. Trump threatened to cancel Musk's government contracts. And by the way, Tesla's stock price is down like 10% since this all kicked off. Elon now has threatened to start a new political party, which I imagine is worrying to some on the right, since a new party led by Musk would almost certainly just cause vote splitting within the right wing of US politics. Apparently capping off this particular tweet storm, Elon accused Trump of being in the Epstein files. Time to drop the big bomb, he said. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Elon later replied yes to another tweet suggesting that Trump should be impeached and replaced with JD Vance. I'm sure Trump will take all of this very well. So we basically all saw this coming, right? Trump has turned on practically everyone who's ever worked for him. And I think anyone who was thinking clearly about this situation saw that there was no way that making two of the biggest egos in American history work together could end in any way other than total disaster. Elon was basically the only guy in that administration that didn't directly depend on Trump for everything that he had. At the end of the day, provided Trump doesn't try and send him to El Salvador or something, even if Elon isn't in the government anymore, he's still an incredibly rich and influential person. This gives him a measure of independence that the rest of the people in Trump's orbit, mostly TV hosts and cranks with no institutional influence, whose authority, such as it exists at all, depends exclusively on staying in Trump's good graces, do not have. But this is exactly why this arrangement was never going to last, isn't it? Because of Elon's immense wealth, because of the base of power that he has, independent of Trump, he was always going to chafe with Trump. A man who has, for the last decade, carefully curated a political world that revolves around himself exclusively. Elon, too, clearly doesn't want to be anything but in charge. And just like every chump with a modicum of cash or influence before him, thought that he could control Trump by being around Trump. What Elon has discovered and what the split between Elon and Trump has exposed for the rest of the world to see is that the Republican Party is not exactly totally unified. The Elon Musk faction is different from the National Conservative faction, for example. A lot of people got into this administration expecting different things. People like Stephen Miller and JD Vance want to turn the United States into some sort of Hungarian-style national conservative state. Elon, I think, clearly has sympathy for this style of politics, absolutely. But he clearly got into this administration thinking he was going to do a version of the Javier Milei Argentina style shredding of government programs and departments in a dramatic way. I would keep a very close eye on JD Vance right now, not just because Elon is apparently supporting a coup in his favor, but since with his connections to prominent national conservatives, he has on multiple occasions cited national conservatives as ideological influences and has spoken at the National Conservative Conference, and to prominent tech billionaires like Vance's former boss and benefactor, Peter Thiel. Vance has a foot in both worlds of the Republican Party right now. But putting that aside, the Musks and the Millers of the world can go together some distance, and not just because Elon Musk appears to have absconded from the White House with Stephen Miller's wife, but because cutting spending on things that national conservatives don't like makes both of these factions very happy. But they were always looking for different ends long term. At the end of the day, you can't establish a national conservative government that exists to support real Americans and suppress liberals, progressives, and foreigners without a strong government. And so the fight between those who cared more about just gutting government and those who cared more about weaponizing government was always coming. The tech billionaires with anti-woke characteristics and the chuds who are embarrassed to be Americans don't always agree on the direction this country should be going, but they have been able to play nice within the Republican Party so far because the actual organizing principle of the Republican Party as it exists right now isn't ideological. It's personal fealty to Donald Trump. If you want to be a Republican in good standing in 2025, really the only qualification is that you must indulge every impulse and crackpot delusion of Donald Trump. You can get away with a lot as long as you deny the 2020 election, as long as you go along with the latest conspiracy theory, as long as you're willing to kiss his feet at the end of the day. Elon Musk, maybe because he didn't quite understand what game he was playing, maybe because he thought he was untouchable, decided to commit that one unforgivable sin, according to the modern Republican Party: criticizing Donald Trump. And so he's out. Who knows what will happen to what remains of Doge, but it certainly looks like the more pro-tariff and pro-national conservative factions within the Trump administration are dominant right now. I also want to say one more thing to any Democrats out there who can hear me. Some of you are about to be the targets of biblical levels of temptation by Elon Musk and people aligned with him. They will promise you the world, a new political party. Maybe you can shape it. Maybe you can have some of Elon Musk's billions to campaign. Maybe you can be influential and ditch that tired old Democratic brand. No, do not do it. This is Mephistopheles whispering in your ear. Remember who you are and remember who he has shown himself to be. It is not worth your soul. It is not worth your self-respect. In the meantime, I wish both Elon Musk and Trump good luck. I wish you could both lose, and I hope you tear down each other and the Republican Party trying to win. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Nice little quick video, quick takes on some current events. Let me know if you like this style of content. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe, share with a friend. All right, see you next time.